Hi, welcome to my kitchen. As per some requests of some people seeing my chili post on Facebook, some people wanted to see how I made it or post a recipe, so I decided I would make it on video so you could see exactly how I do it. So let me get started with showing you the ingredients, and then I'll show you the prep work, and the rest of it is really just taken care of on the stove. Alright, so let me show you. Hey, first of all, these are the ingredients and tools you're going to need here. First, the fresh ingredients here. We have 4 different kinds of bell peppers. We have an orange, green, red, and yellow bell pepper, a white onion, a chili pepper, and 2 ears of fresh corn. We have some gourmet mixed style mushrooms here, with some portobello, oyster mushrooms and stuff. We have some lean ground beef. You can use 1 packet, 2 packets, or if you don't like meat, you don't have to use meat, you can just use some extra beans. And then to make this quick and easy, instead of using fresh tomatoes and having to stew them down, which takes a little while, so we just use some canned stewed tomatoes. I use some whole ones and some crushed ones. I end up cutting them because I like it nice and chunky. And then some dark red kidney beans, 2 cans. All this is going to make probably about 12 servings. Okay. All right, so we'll get started on prep work. Alright, I already cut up some of these things. I slice up the corn and onions and 1 of the bell peppers. And just give you some little tips on how to cut like bell peppers up. Always hold your knife like this. Never hold it just by the handle. The chef's knife is designed to be held just like this so you have control over the blade. You can slice around the top of it. After you get that off, you can just peel that off. That goes right in there. Now you can slice it into here. You can take out the white meat part. It doesn't necessarily add too much flavor, so I like to remove that and just get the tasty part, the actual green bell pepper part. If you like extra fiber in your food, I guess you could use it. It's not bad for you, it's just bitter. So, alright, gonna slice these into chunks. Again, slice a knife. And I like it chunky, so I leave it nice and chunky. I don't slice these too thin or anything. I like them nice and thick. I'm going to put those in there. And again, slice them down. Leave them chunky. Chunky chili is better, in my opinion. The corn. I like to use fresh corn instead of like canned corn. Cut off the end. Slice it off. Cut off the other end. Now you're going to lay it on its side like this and just travel your knife right down the edge and slice down. And get some fresh corn. Who doesn't love corn? Everyone loves corn. And this is the first time I'm using corn in chili, so this is kind of an experiment for me. I know I've seen it in there before, I've just never used it in my own. So I'm sure it's going to turn out just fine because it won't do anything to the flavor, it just adds to the texture. And now we're going to put these into the pot. And I just get everything prepped into the bowl first so that all the vegetables are already prepped and everything. So I'm going to cut up the other peppers. I already cut up the onion. And then we'll be able to get started cooking. And then it's pretty easy. It does it all, most of the work itself. Alright. Okay, as you can see, I already got the meat and mushrooms on here started. All I'm going to do is kind of get those cooking down a little bit. They're already started here. And you don't really have to wait because as a soup or a stew, it's all just going to cook down anyway. So you don't really have to wait for this to cook down completely before you add any other things. But this does help release some of those flavors and fats it flavor. So next thing I'm going to add in is all the vegetables I chopped up. Now everything is cut into like about inch-sized pieces except for the chili pepper, which you didn't see me cut up. I minced that up because you don't want chunks of chili pepper in there. That would definitely catch you off guard when you went to bite into it. So I'm just going to throw all this in there all once. It's all in there, the corn and everything. And we're going to put it in there. Now we're going to stir it all up. As you can see, some of the minced chili pepper here in there. I am going to add some seasoning to it as well. This isn't anything, but not until late. First we'll let everything cook into flavors, and then we'll add the seasoning in. So now we're just going to stir this in here with the meat and everything. And we're going to let these vegetables cook down. And once they get cooking down, then we'll add in the tomatoes and the beans. Make sure you rinse, if you're using canned beans or even one, make sure you rinse them really well. That really cuts down on how much gas you get from eating chili. So get that sediment you think. See, I already rinsed them off or something like that. I just pour them in and keep rinsing them out, rinse them out till there's no more sediment left in the beans. So that'll be added near after this is all cooked down. So for the meantime, put a lid on it, kind of walk back in every couple minutes, stir it around, and then we'll end up adding in the tomatoes and the beans and the seasoning later. Alright? Okay, now the onions and vegetables are starting to cook down, and you want to get them down to where the onions are kind of translucent and starting to limp up a little bit. You don't want them too firm, as it's going to be a stew. Everything's going to be kind of, I guess, not so firm anymore. So now it's okay to add into the tomatoes, which I suggest you use the whole peeled tomatoes, or if you want to stew your own. It's a little tedious to do to make a chili. This is much faster just to buy stewed tomatoes. You can buy some organic ones, or if you're into doing everything from scratch, do it your way. I've done it both ways. This one works great too. So anyway, add in the tomatoes, and then we're going to add in the beans. 1 can. Remember, I've already rinsed the beans. And we're going to stir this up. I'm going to add in a little bit, I got some crushed tomatoes. I'm not going to add in all of that. I'm just going to add in about half a can of that. And it just gives it a little bit more tomatoey. Now these tomatoes are whole, but they're going to break up as we stir it along, and they break down and they become more part of it. So as you start to, crush them up a little bit in there. And this is going to probably, you want this to cook probably for another hour or so, just sitting on like a medium-low heat, and it's going to cook down. As we're starting to see, it's starting to take a little bit more of that chili type color, and see how nice and chunky. This one's pretty meaty too. I don't normally put in this much meat, but the last one I made, I put in very little meat, so I like to change it. Every time I make it, I probably make it a slightly different, but same basic stuff. I like the same kind of things in my chili. The peppers, the onions, the mushrooms. And seasoning. I just buy a regular chili seasoning pack. I couldn't find one that was hot, so that's why I bought a chili pepper too, so I guarantee this one's going to be spicy. So we just add this in and just pour it in. We'll toss this away, and then we just stir in the seasoning. And now it's going to just start to take on a chili aroma, as well as a color. And this just gets better with the more it cooks now. So this is going to take a little while to cook down. You could probably start to eat it in an hour, but I tell you, leftovers is where it's really at. I tell you, nothing is better than leftover chili. So we're just going to let this sit here and simmer. I'm going to turn the heat down just a bit, so it doesn't cook down. We just want it to sit and simmer, and then in about an hour, you got yourself some chili ready to eat. In another day or two, you're going to have some delicious chili. So I hope you enjoyed, and that's how I make my chili. Take care.